Hey you guys, welcome back. It's Amy Gretchen, and today I'm sharing days 9 and 10 in my 2019 December daily album. So for day 9, I'm actually going to be using the hexagon that you can see at the top of the screen that I created in Allie Edwards' December Daily Product Play Class 3. So that class came out this year, and I was working with the hexagon shapes, and I came up with this hexagon wreath, and I have all the details available in that class if this is something you want to make. And I even have cut files and templates if you want to be able to make your own. I have a small one that goes with the 4x6. I also have one that goes with the 6x8 as well. If you wanted to do this for a 3x8, you could just go ahead and fold it right in half, and then you can unfold it as you're opening it up. So it would have a little bit of an interactive element there. So you can do it with the 6x8 if you would like. So there's a couple changes that I made from the class. You'll see that I actually changed the all is calm on that star with one of the word phrase stickers instead of one of the Follow Law banners. And then I changed the number 9. I think it previously said number 2. So I changed that number 9. And then the letter was an M because the photos I had previously used were of my daughter Megan. And I went ahead and I changed it to an A because the story is all about me and all about how I love waking up early in the morning to the quiet of the house and reading in front of the twinkle lights of the tree. So that's the story I'm going to tell today. It's pretty simple, but it's actually one that I want to remember because I wonder if when my kids are older and maybe they're not around for Christmas, if it's something that I will continue to do. So I definitely want to capture this story. So the first thing that I'm going to do is cut out my images. And of course, when I took off the images that I had originally used, I don't know where they're at. So I didn't have a template. So I had to create another template. And again, if you have my file, you will be able to have the template shape that you can easily print out and then cut out your photos. You can see how easy that was. One thing that I loved as I was working with the hexagons was how easy it was to cut out, just because everything is straight lines. So if you don't have, a silhouette or a cricket or something to cut out the file, you can just use scissors. You can see how easy it is. And I actually don't think that I was even that precise, but you can't tell. It looks really good and it looks really even. So this obviously came together really quickly because I had previously created it, but if you're doing it from scratch, it actually does not take that long at all. All right, so in order to add my journaling, I decided to just add it with some phrase, like a phrase sticker. So I, just wrote a couple of sentences and then I'm trimming them out. I thought that would be way easier than trying to create something that then I could print a story on. And really, it didn't have to be an elaborate story. It just needed to be a few sentences long, just to kind of get the point across of how much I really enjoy sitting in front of the Christmas tree every morning. And I don't do it at night as much as I did when I was a kid. I would do it at night all the time, like just sitting there looking up at the tree. Like I really loved it. So I think it's fun to be able to capture these stories and see how they change how they change over time. All right, so I think I'm adding a little bit of glue because the two pieces were kind of pilling up a little bit. Now this Gina K Connect glue is really awesome. When it goes on and, stuff is kind of moving around and slipping around, you're like, oh, this isn't very good. But once it dries, it is really, really secure. So I've been kind of securing everything down that I've been doing with that Gina K, even some of the chipboard, just to make sure that it stays down good. So a couple things I wanted to mention: that stripe pattern paper that you can see behind that those pieces, the star and the hexagon piece, that was a Paislee press. I think that was a digital paper that I printed out and just cut down and stuck on the back of there because I wanted a little bit of contrast and I loved that pop of red. All right, so now I'm moving on to day 10. So on this one, I had it in my mind to use this tag that says Holiday Magic. And I think it came out last year or the year before. I can't remember when that was. Maybe it was last year. And I actually ended up using one of the tags last year, and I just could not keep from doing the same thing. Like I thought about it for a long, long time, and I'm like, I've got to come up with something else. I can't just do the same thing I did last year. But honestly, I couldn't think of anything else. Well, the one thing that I did think of is, you see how those the Holiday Magic is on a diagonal. I was thinking of cutting a slit and then adding my journaling and photo into it, like a pull out, kind of like what I did for, what was that, day 8. But I'm like, I don't want to just keep doing pullouts to add my journaling. So I just decided to do this, which is very similar to what I did last year. And instead of, I think last year I added the photo onto the back of this tag, and then I put my journaling onto vellum. This year I decided to do the journaling down first and then print out my photo onto vellum. So it's just a little bit different, but it is very similar, and I think it's okay to repeat yourself, especially if it's a design that you like and it's products that you like. So never be afraid to repeat something that you've already done. I think it's totally fine. If you don't want to do it, don't. I think it's totally fine. So right now I'm actually working on the tab. So one of the things that I struggled with the most was trying to figure out how I was going to attach this into the album, because number one, if the actual tag had holes in it, then either the photo on the back would have to have holes in it, in which case it wouldn't function the way I want to function. So I want it to be able to look like a tag. And so I want the photo to just be able to move to the side to expose the journaling. But if there were holes in it, then I'd have to have holes in photos, and then it wouldn't function that way. But let's say that I shortened the photo and made it shorter so that it would function like a tag. Well, then it wouldn't cover all of the back of the tag, and it wouldn't cover the journaling. So I didn't like that option as well. So I decided to do another tab, which I kind of didn't want to do because it looked a lot like day 9, seeing as how there was just one tab sticking out, and that's how it was attached to the album. So I was trying to avoid it looking so similar, but then I just decided it's really not that big of a deal. If I were to have 2 4x6 photos in a page protector side by side, they would look very similar. And so it's totally fine that I have, 9 and 10 are kind of the same width in the album. So that was really kind of my biggest hesitation here, is that 9 and 10 they end up being very similar in width. And ultimately I would have wanted to put something in between, but I knew what I wanted to do for day 12. So then I was kind of planning day 11 around day 12. And anyway, it just turns out that these end up being similar widths. And it was just one of those things that I kind of had to get over and remind myself, this is just an album and this is just one of the stories. And I actually like the way it looks in the album. So anyway, just one of those things. All right. So moving on, you ended up seeing me make that tab. I realized actually that I was off and that I was supposed to cut off a little bit more from the top of this tag, but ultimately when I was done, I really liked it, but my photo was too short. So I didn't print out a big enough photo. So I just went ahead and I printed it again. I think it was like 1/4 of an inch off. So I just printed it again on some of the extra vellum that I had. And now I'm just trimming it out, and then I will end up putting it with the tag. So I really ended up loving how this story evolved because, days 9, I guess I should say December 9th and 10th, they were really hard. I was really struggling. I was struggling creatively. I was struggling emotionally with some things that are going on around here. And I don't know, you just kind of hate filling in the dumps during the holidays. And I just needed a little bit of a break. So that's what my journaling was about. And I was sort of writing it in my head all day. I'm like, this is the story I'm going to tell. I'm going to totally keep it real like I did for day one and just talk about what's going on around here. And then at the very end of the day, I came home from a meeting that went late, and my kids followed me into my room, and really what I wanted to do was go to bed. And they followed me into my room. My husband was in there reading, and we just sat there talking. So I was kind of getting ready for bed, putting on my sweats and stuff. And it ended up being exactly what I needed. It was kind of the perfect end to my day, and it really filled me up and filled up my spirit and just added that light that I needed to how I was feeling. So that is what this story is about. And I love to be able to add stories like that. And I loved how it evolved from being this hard day, kind of frustrating day as I was sitting with those emotions, to one that was full of light, and one that, a resolution my kids helped me get to. So I was really grateful that they followed me into my room, and that they stayed, and they made me laugh, and then they told me stories. Anyway, I'm really glad that this story ended up getting captured for this day, because I'm super grateful for what they add to my life. They just add a lot. And I feel like I'm in that place right now where I'm kind of afraid for them to leave. I've got my middle child is graduating, and so I'll have just one at home, and really I'm only going to have a couple more years with her, and I am just kind of mourning the loss of that, even though I know that there's beautiful things on the horizon. Just, my life isn't just about my kids, so I know that there are beautiful things on my horizon, but they add so much goodness to my life. I'm going to miss them, it's going to be awesome, and it's going to be good, but it's definitely going to be different. So anyway, just celebrating that right now, and super grateful that they were there to, help me make that change in my heart. So really grateful for that. All right, guys, so that is it for me for days 9 and 10. Sorry, I feel like I wasn't very helpful or informative when it came to day 10, but hopefully you could follow along with what I was doing. Anyway, you guys are so awesome for being here. Again, thank you so much. And if you have not subscribed, I would love for you to do so, and definitely hit that bell so that you will know when I add new videos to my channel. All right, you guys, we will see you next time. Bye.